A third of chocolate products in American stores contain dangerously high levels of lead and cadmium. The stuff in your pantry drawer right now. Some of these companies have reportedly been on notice since 2014 and kept selling without changing a word on the label. Lead causes nervous system damage. Cadmium has been linked to certain cancers, and we haven't even touched the hydrogenated oils, compound coatings, and brands selling something that legally can't be called chocolate. I'm exposing 10 chocolate brands you need to avoid and 6 that are actually real. Our backbone. Consumer Reports December 2022 Dark Chocolate Investigation. Let's start the countdown. The bad list. Number 10. Palmer. R.M. Palmer. R.M. Palmer has been stacking holiday candy in dollar stores and Walmart aisles since 1948. Generations of kids have torn open those foil bunnies and Santas expecting chocolate. But check the ingredient list. Palmer products list sugar and hydrogenated vegetable oil before anything resembling cocoa. Under FDA standards, products that substitute palm kernel oil for cocoa butter cannot be labeled chocolate. They must be called compound coating or chocolate flavor. That's what Palmer is, compound coating. Legally, not chocolate. Hydrogenated vegetable oil is a source of industrially produced trans fats, which the FDA has classified as not generally recognized as safe. The cardiovascular impact is a higher LDL to HDL cholesterol ratio, the exact profile associated with increased heart disease risk. Bite into a Palmer piece, and it leaves a waxy, slow-dissolving film on the roof of your mouth. That's palm kernel oil refusing to behave like cocoa butter. At roughly $1.50 for a bag of 8 pieces, you're paying to eat vegetable oil shaped like a bunny. The next brand dresses up the same problem in premium packaging. Number 9. Russell Stover. Russell Stover has been America's sentimental box of chocolates for over a century. It's in every hospital gift shop and every grandmother's living room, and people have genuine warmth for that red heart-shaped box. The moment you flip it over, the warmth disappears. Russell Stover's standard bases rely on cheap cocoa formulations and heavy sugar loads. Their sugar-free line, marketed to diabetics, is packed with maltitol, a sugar alcohol the gut absorbs poorly and ferments, triggering bloating, cramping, and a laxative effect at moderate doses. Maltitol also carries a glycemic index of approximately 35, high enough to cause meaningful blood sugar spikes in diabetic individuals. Marketing it as a safe diabetic option is, at minimum, misleading. The texture on standard pieces is grainy and flat, with a cocoa finish that disappears quickly because there's not much cocoa. At $10 to $12 for a 12-ounce box, you could fund 4 bars from the good list on this video. At least Russell Stover doesn't answer to one of the most scrutinized food conglomerates on earth. The next brand does. Number 8. Nestle. Nestle commands Kit Kat, Crunch, Butterfinger, and Toll House. It's nearly impossible to walk a grocery aisle without hitting 5 of their products. Their branding is nostalgic. Their sourcing record is not. Over 2 million children are estimated to be working in hazardous conditions on cocoa farms in West Africa alone. Despite decades of public pledges to eliminate child labor from its supply chain, independent watchdogs and investigative journalists have consistently found those commitments haven't translated into verified change on the ground. From an ingredient standpoint, Nestle's mass-market products are engineered for cost efficiency. Toll House morsels, the most popular baking chip in America, contain 9 grams of added sugar per tablespoon serving and use vanilla, a synthetic flavor substitute, in place of actual vanilla. Nestle baking chips cost around $4.50 for 12 ounces. That's not the problem. The unresolved sourcing story that comes with every bag is. The next brand shares a troubling through line with Nestle, and the class action lawyers noticed. Number 7. Dove Dark Chocolate. Dove wants you to think it's a cut above. The silky ad campaigns, the smooth melt promise, the individually wrapped messages about self-care. This is premium positioning by a brand owned by Mars Incorporated, one of the largest candy manufacturers on Earth. In reality, Dove Dark Chocolate appeared in Consumer Reports December 2022 investigation, which found that 23 of 28 dark chocolate products tested, including Dove, contained potentially harmful levels of lead, cadmium, or both, for people eating just 1 ounce of chocolate a day. The CDC ranks cadmium among the most hazardous substances tracked. Dove's wrapper says silky smooth. It says nothing about the heavy metals. The melt genuinely is smooth, credit where it's due. But that cocoa butter melt is delivering a side of cadmium the little inspirational messages aren't mentioned. At $5 for a 3.3-ounce bar, you're paying a mid-tier premium for a mass production product that failed independent safety benchmarks. The next brand tried to move further upmarket and fell harder. Number 6. Godiva. Godiva is the luxury flex of airport retail. The gold box, the Belgian heritage story, the the window displays. Decades spent cultivating an image of European sophistication and superior chocolate craft. However, Consumer Reports found Godiva's signature dark 72% cacao tested at 146% of California's maximum allowable dose level for lead, nearly 1.5 times the daily threshold in a single ounce. A class action complaint named Godiva among brands whose dark chocolate contained toxic levels of lead and cadmium. Lead exposure has been linked to nervous system injury and brain damage. That Belgian artisan story you're paying for has also been filtered through multiple ownership changes since Yildiz Holding acquired Godiva in 2008, and again when U.S. retail operations were sold in 2009. The small batch precision that gold box implies is not the manufacturing reality. Godiva's 72% bars run $5 to $7 per 1.5 ounce bar. Extraordinary price per ounce for a product that failed basic safety benchmarks. At least Godiva didn't try to lobby the government to change the definition of chocolate. The next brand's parent company helped try to do exactly that. But first, if you're finding this useful, hit like and subscribe right now. We break down shady food brands every single week, and you don't want to miss the next. Let's keep going. Number 5, Toblerone. Toblerone is iconic. The triangular prism, the mountain logo, the honey almond nougat wedged between the peaks. It's been in duty-free shops since 1908, but Toblerone's recent history is a story of quiet downgrading. In 2016, parent company Mondelez International, which also owns Cadbury and Oreo, increased the gaps between the triangle peaks in UK bars, reducing the chocolate per package while holding the price the same. Public backlash forced a reversal in 2018. The willingness to silently degrade a product rather than raise the price tells you exactly where the priorities sit. The nougat relies on glucose syrup and modified starch. A standard 100g Toblerone bar contains 56 grams of total sugar, over half the bar's weight, pushing you past the American Heart Association's entire recommended daily limit for women in a single sitting. The milk chocolate shell is pleasant. It's not doing enough to justify the premium. And Toblerone's corporate parent has an identical track record on product transparency to the brand that comes next, because it's the same company. Number 4, Cadbury U.S. formulation. Cadbury Dairy Milk was built on a genuinely superior recipe. Higher milk solids content than competitors, a milk-forward creaminess that made it iconic since its founding in Birmingham in 1824. That's not what the U.S. market Cadbury is today. After Kraft Foods acquired Cadbury for approximately $19.5 billion in 2010, U.S. production was licensed to the Hershey Company, which reformulates the bar to match Hershey's production standards. The result, a different fat profile, a higher sugar ratio, and a cocoa solids percentage that diverges from the UK original. The US version uses PGPR, polyglycerol polyresinole, as an emulsifier in place of additional cocoa butter. PGPR is a cheaper substitute derived from castor oil that the FDA permits, but that measurably changes the melt profile. US Cadbury carries around 20 grams of sugar per 40g serving, 50% of the bar by weight. British expats in the US notice the taste difference immediately. It is not subtle. The connection to Hershey is not accidental. It is a licensing arrangement, and that arrangement leads us directly to the brand that most belongs near the top of this list. Number 3, Lindt Excellence. High cocoa dark lines. Lindt Excellence is where health-conscious chocolate buyers go to feel smart. The 70%, 85%, and 90% bars sit in Whole Foods next to the vitamins. They show up on every best dark chocolate listicle. This is the brand people eat when they think they're doing something good for their body. In reality, Consumer Reports found Lindt Excellence Dark Chocolate 85% cocoa tested at 166% of California's maximum allowable dose level for lead and 80% for cadmium, both elevated above the daily safety threshold in a single ounce. Cadmium is a known carcinogen linked to increased risks of lung, kidney, prostate, and pancreatic cancers. The 85% bar is legitimately complex and bitter in a way that shows cocoa quality, which makes this harder to dismiss. But flavor quality and safety quality are not the same thing. At $4 to $5 for a 3.5 ounce bar, this is positioned as a responsible choice. The lab data says otherwise, and the next brand not only failed the same tests, it was sued for allegedly knowing about the problem for almost a decade. Number 2, Trader Joe's Dark Chocolate. Select lines. Trader Joe's has cult loyalty. It is synonymous with reading labels, caring about ingredients, and being a savvy shopper. People go there specifically because they believe it's better. Here's the problem. Trader Joe's Dark Chocolate 72% cacao tested at 192% of California's maximum allowable dose level for lead in Consumer Reports and as you so test. 192%. That places it among the worst performers in the entire. Consumer Reports specifically warned that kids and pregnant people should consume dark chocolate sparingly, if at all, because heavy metals pose the highest risk to young children and developing babies. Trader Joe's dark chocolate is actively marketed to health-conscious consumers who might be eating it daily as part of a clean routine. That is the worst possible use pattern given the test result. Trader Joe's is also a private label retailer, not a manufacturer, meaning a co-manufacturer is producing this under the TJ's name with no public sourcing accountability. The bar is pleasant, slightly fruity, and affordable at $2 to $3. All of that makes the 192% lead result worse, not better, because it encourages frequent consumption. At least Trader Joe's hasn't been named in a class action suit seeking $5 million in damages for allegedly concealing what's in the bar. The brand that earned that honor is next, and it might be the most famous chocolate name in America. Number 1. Hershey's. The biggest disappointment on this list is Hershey's, the brand millions of Americans have trusted for generations. Founded in 1894, Hershey has become synonymous with chocolate itself. But Consumer Reports found that several Hershey dark chocolate products contain concerning levels of heavy metals. Hershey's Special Dark Mildly Sweet Chocolate tested at 265% of California's maximum allowable lead level, the highest Hershey result in the study. Lily's Extra Dark 70% and Lily's Extreme Dark 85% also exceeded safety thresholds for lead and cadmium. A class action lawsuit alleges Hershey knew about these contamination issues as early as 2014 while continuing to market the products without disclosing the presence of heavy metals, seeking at least $5 million in damages. Separately, some Hershey products were reformulated with vegetable oil instead of cocoa butter, meaning they no longer qualified as true chocolate under FDA labeling standards. For a company trusted by millions of families, those findings raise serious questions about transparency and quality. But enough with the brands lying to you about what's in the wrapper. It's time to see what real chocolate actually looks and tastes like, and what a clean label actually means when you flip a bar over. Here are 6 chocolate brands that are actually chocolate. The good list. Number 6. Endangered Species Chocolate. Founded in 1993, Endangered Species donates 10% of net profits to wildlife conservation and builds its line around high cocoa content bars starting at 72% cacao. Not a gimmick, genuinely high cocoa formulations with traceable sourcing. The proof: non-GMO project verified, fair trade certified cocoa. Their 72% Supreme Dark Bar ingredient list reads: bittersweet chocolate, cocoa butter, vanilla. No PGPR. No vegetable oil substitutes. No vanillin. Nutrition: 3 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber, 12 grams of added sugar per 40 g serving, well below the 24 plus grams in Hershey equivalents. It snaps clean, melts evenly, and delivers genuine roasted cocoa bitterness. About $4.50 for a 3-ounce bar. Fair value for a certified, real chocolate product. If you want something brighter and more complex, the next brand goes directly to the source in a way almost nobody else does. Number 5. Alter Eco. Alter Eco sources directly from farmer cooperatives in Ecuador and Peru, and was doing it before direct trade was a marketing buzzword. USDA certified organic and fair trade certified across all products, and entirely palm oil free. Their deep dark blackout 85% bar ingredient list: organic cocoa mass, organic cocoa butter, organic cane sugar. 3 ingredients. Full stop. For grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, 6 grams of sugar per 40 g serving. 6 grams. Compare that directly to Hershey's 24. The melt is long and complex with a slight fruitiness. What happens when you start with quality single-origin beans instead of commodity blends? Around $5 for a 2.82-ounce bar, which is a premium that's fully earned. If you want the same sourcing rigor but completely refined sugar-free, the next brand built its entire identity around that stand. Number 4. Who Kitchen, who launched in New York in 2012 with a specific brief: make chocolate that's free of refined sugar, dairy, emulsifiers, soy, and cane sugar. They sweeten exclusively with organic coconut sugar. The label on Who's Simple Dark 70%. Organic cacao, organic coconut sugar, organic cocoa butter. That's the entire bar. No lecithin, no vanillin, no PGPR, nothing requiring explanation. Nutrition: 3 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, 6 grams of total sugar per serving. Coconut sugar carries a lower glycemic index than cane sugar and delivers trace minerals, making this one of the cleanest label-to-nutrition ratios in commercial chocolate. The texture is slightly grainy without lecithin doing its smoothing work. You adjust quickly, and then conventional chocolate starts tasting like a chemistry project. Around $6 to $7 for a 2.1-ounce bar, the priciest per ounce on this list, and genuinely worth it for allergen-sensitive buyers. If you want whose clean ingredient philosophy combined with activist-level sourcing ethics, the next brand started as an act of journalistic protest. Number 3. Taza Chocolate. Taza, based in Somerville, Massachusetts, stone grinds cacao on traditional Mexican-style granite millstones. No conching, minimal processing, volatile flavor compounds that standard conching destroys are preserved in the bar. Taza pioneered the chocolate industry's first third-party certified direct trade cacao sourcing program, paying farmers at least $500 above market price, significantly above fair trade minimums. All cacao is USDA certified organic and palm oil free, with sourcing independently verified annually by Bay State organic certifiers. Taza 70% wicked dark, organic cacao, organic cane sugar, organic cocoa butter. 3 ingredients: 4 grams of protein, 5 grams of fiber, 9 grams of sugar per serving. Critically, Consumer Reports 2022 testing found Taza came in below the MADL threshold for both lead and cadmium, one of only 5 products out of 28 to pass both benchmarks simultaneously. The texture is intentionally coarse and grainy, the direct opposite of an overprocessed dub bar. Divisive. People who like it become devoted. Around $7 for a 2.5-ounce bar. Certified, third-party verified, and one of 5 products to pass the most rigorous independent heavy metal test available. Number 2. Tony's Chocolonely. Tony's was created in 2005 by Dutch journalist Teun van de Keuken as a direct protest against child exploitation and slavery in the cocoa industry. After investigative reporting failed to move the industry, he started making chocolate instead. That is a founding story with actual stakes. Tony's is fair trade certified across its entire product line, uses traceable single-origin beans, and publishes a full annual impact report. In 2022, the Thomson Reuters Foundation awarded Tony's the Stop Slavery Award in the category Goods and Services Companies, recognizing companies that have set a high standard for eradicating slavery and illegal child labor from supply chains. There's 70% dark bar, cocoa mass, sugar, cocoa butter, vanilla. For ingredients: 3 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, 11 grams of sugar per 40 g serving. If Tony's is the activist choice, the gold standard on this list is the brand that passed independent lab testing and is stocked in mainstream grocery stores nationwide. Number 1. Ghirardelli. Founded in San Francisco in 1852 by Domingo Ghirardelli, this is the oldest continuously operating chocolate manufacturer in the United States. Under Lindt and Sprungly ownership since 1998, its U.S. formulation standards have remained meaningfully distinct from mass-market competition. Here's the proof that earns it the top spot. In Consumer Reports' 2022 Dark Chocolate Investigation, Ghirardelli was one of only 5 products out of 28 to fall below the maximum allowable dose level for both lead and cadmium simultaneously. 1 of 5 out of 28. Ghirardelli Intense Dark 72% Twilight Delight ingredient list. Bittersweet chocolate, sugar, chocolate, cocoa butter, milk fat, soy lecithin, vanilla extract. Real vanilla extract, real cocoa butter, no compound coating, no hydrogenated oils, no PGPR. Nutrition: 3 grams of protein, 3 grams of fiber, 13 grams of sugar per 3 square serving. Competitive with nearly every brand on this good list and well below anything from Hershey, Russell Stover, or Dove. The melt is slow, even, and genuinely complex. Roasted coffee and dried fruit finish that Hershey's chalky sweetness cannot approximate. Around $4 to $5 for a 3.17-ounce bar at most major grocery chains and Target. Widely available, consistently formulated, independently tested, and made with real ingredients. That combination, accessibility, transparency, and passing the hardest safety benchmark available, is why Ghirardelli is the number 1 pick. That's 10 chocolate brands that belong in the trash, and 6 that belong in your cart. The test data is public. The lawsuits are filed. The ingredient lists are on the back of every package. The only question is what you do with this information the next time you're standing in the candy aisle. Speaking of things that belong in the trash, next week we're going inside the protein bar industry, a category where 35 grams of protein on the front label frequently doesn't match what's actually in the bar, and where independent testing has found some of the worst heavy metal concentrations anywhere in the packaged food aisle. You think chocolate was bad? We're just getting started.